What's up? This is the one and only African superstar in the building. Please, when you come in the room, let me see you in the chat room. Yes. And make sure you are a part of the conversation. Today, I want to make this message out. I'm not going to be here long before you. I want to give a special shout outs to my niece, Talia. I received some pictures today from her prom, her senior prom, and she looked absolutely gorgeous. And her mother, who is Amina on our channel, if you guys have seen Amina in the chat room before, Amina and I were having a bit of a discussion, and I was passing along some advice that I would like to give to my niece as she gets ready for, her college days and all of that stuff. Things that I think would have been very valuable for me to know, and things that I think a lot of young Black women do not get this information. So I want to make sure um, that I pass it along, make it available. Big shout outs to Tony Africa. I see you, the first one in the building. Shout outs to the African Superstar family, guys. Make sure you hit the likes. Hello. I can see the numbers of you in here, and I need to see the likes corresponding. Yes, make sure you hit the likes today as you come in the room. All right. So this message is for young Black women only. Hello. So this doesn't include you non-Black women. Hello. Obviously, the gentlemen of my platform, you're more than welcome to listen to this advice, but it is for the young Black women only. Yes. So, like I said, what motivated this was, um, my niece getting ready to. She just had her senior prom, getting ready to, prepare for the collegiate journey and all that stuff. The information I want to pass on to young Black women is to take the agenda, the mantra that is heavily marketed to our young ladies, the single Black independent, boss bitch, um, kind of ideology that is marketed to so many of our women in the West. I want to tell you, sister to sister, hello, that is not the way forward. In as much it's great to be a mature adult, it's great to, provide for yourself and not be a menace to society or someone who doesn't function in society. Never ever forget your innate purpose in this world. Okay. Men and women are here for innate purposes as much as we contribute to innovations and scientific breakthroughs and music and art and all these things. At the end of the day, we do have a reproductive function that keeps society and mankind going on. Unfortunately, our women are marketed in a particular way that is not marketed to any other women. And so I want to tell a story. I'm going to wait for some likes. Hello, because I see you guys in the room. We got 5 of you, and there's no likes on the video. So I'll wait. What's up, Queenie? I see you there in the building. Hello, please be on code. Make sure you hit the likes. This video is for young Black women only. And for any of the other aunties in the chat room, feel free to share your advices to our young women because it's time for us to start taking the initiative to communicate with our youth ourselves. Okay, we know that the world is harsh around them, and we know, unfortunately, we don't have a lot of protecting mechanisms around our women. So let's take the initiative and encourage them on the right journey. Big shout out to the African Superstar family. I'm waiting for some likes on the video. I see 10 of you here and there's one like. So the math is not mathing. Hit the likes. If you're in the building, do the needful because you took time out to come to my live stream and y'all know what the protocol is by now. I'm waiting. And then I'll get into the topic. Big shout outs to African Superstar family. Shout outs to Tony Africa and Queenie, the only ones in the chat room so far. What's up, guys? Don't waste a lot of time. Don't waste a lot of time getting on code. When you come to my platform, live streams are interactive. All right. That's the whole point. If you're not interested in engaging in live streams, just come and see the playbacks. All right, it's very very simple. Hit the likes, guys. Shamshu, I see you in the building. What's up, family? So there's three of you in the likes. I mean, in the chat, and the likes ain't even up. I want to get on with my story. Hello, we're waiting for you guys. Thank you. All right, thank you guys. So a few weeks ago, actually, me and one of my former, classmates from the University of Cincinnati. Big shout outs to any Bearcats. I always recognize people from my humble beginnings back in Columbus, Ohio, back in Cincinnati, Ohio, where I attended the University of Cincinnati and ITT Tech. So big shout outs to my alma mater, University of Cincinnati. So a few weeks ago, my girlfriend and I, actually my birthday twin, Miss Nicola, we both share the same birthday, 26th of June. We were talking about, the difference in grooming that we received compared to other women. A lot of other women are groomed to kind of focus upon their eventual role as wife and mother, and to prioritize that. And one of the ways that was very evident was when we were at the University of Cincinnati, and any other Bearcats can definitely attest. We saw, the white girls were quite keen to hone in on, let me say, the future, the future promising gentlemen. They were networking with the engineering students and going to the football games and trying to equate themselves with, the star athletes and those that were business majors and marketing majors and things like that. They were keen to join sororities, and then they would fraternize with the corresponding fraternity. And following university, a lot of them were very quick to get married. I'd say between the ages of 21 and 25, a lot of young black white women were getting married. Meanwhile, among our people, there's this focus of education and, don't worry about boys, wait till you get older, and, prioritizing um, those things over mixing and mingling, networking with potential future suitors. And so, what I wanted to pass along to my own niece, I've never been a big proponent of the single black independent mantra. That's something that I have never ever subscribed to. I say that definitely I've had to be independent and take care of myself throughout my life, but I know how to function also in a relationship setting. And I would say I would consider myself more a hybrid, because if I could definitely adapt to a soft life, housewife, be taken care of, let the man lead role, I'm definitely going to let him do that. I would advise my young ladies to utilize what they have to get what they want. This is something definitely we see the other women doing. When you are young, when you are very attractive, when maybe you are having a decent caliber of suitors pursuing you, do not reject these guys because of you think you're going to have future prospects. I'm in my 40s now, and let me tell you. Let me tell you that the prospects at this stage of the game is not ideal. Another benefit to potentially meeting, young men in those stages is you're going to deal with a lot less baggage. They haven't been having so many relationships. The same reason that older men look at younger women, because they think that younger women haven't had as many partners, or they're a bit naive, or they're not that experienced, or they're more fresh, or whatever it is. They have better prospects of fertility. We should also be considering our peers. You see, yes, you might meet a young man who's in university who you may have to groom him a bit. He's never had a girlfriend before. He doesn't know how to dress that nice, or his bachelor pad is kind of basic. These kind of things. These are areas that you may be able to help expose a young man. Ladies do mature faster than men. So a lot of times by the time we're both, 18, 21, the ladies will be functioning at a different level than the young men. But the benefit is these older guys, they have been ran through. A lot of them are bitter, they have baggage, they have a negative connotation towards relationship because they have had bad experiences. If you can, it's much more ideal to get yourself one before he has experienced a lot of these things. And so, young ladies, make the most of your youth, make the most of your university days. In addition to dating, you also want to take university days as an opportunity to network with obviously the future leaders, the future professionals in the future. A lot of those networks, and many of you guys, first shout outs to the African Superstar family. First trivia question: if you guys have utilized connections you've made in your university days, please let me see a number one. If you have utilized connections you have made in your university days, let me see a number one. Shout outs to Marsha Downs. I see you there in the chat room. University is a great opportunity to network with people that may be of benefit to you in the future. We see obviously some people get involved in fraternities and sororities, and we see that culture. That culture is very powerful for a lot of people. Let's say you move to another city or state and you tap into your fraternity in that location. Some people also tap in their grad school days and become a member of fraternities, sororities. These type of things are going to open doors for you. Like I began with this message, I talked about my friend that I met in university, my girlfriend Nicola. I met her in university probably the first week or two. I was at UC, and she was from Cleveland, I was from Columbus, and we've literally become lifelong friends. And it was just so ironic that both she and I share the same birthday. So that's always been exciting, and we've made efforts sometimes to connect on our birthdays throughout the years. And she's a very, very valuable, high quality association that I've had. A lot of other people have been able to take advantage of these connections that they've made in their university days. For some people, that is actually when they found their spouse, when they went to university. So take advantage of those opportunities um, when you go to university, and that's what I want to tell the young black women out there. Do not squander your youth. Do not squander good opportunities that come your way. Do not be rejecting decent good suitors that may come your way. I think it's highly unlikely that you would meet a total comprehensive Prince Charming when you're in a university. I mean, for a lot of such a prolific period. For some people, it's the first time they're away from home. It's the first time they have to be functioning as an adult. It's a microcosm of what you will go through in your adulthood, but it's such a pivotal time. So, expecting people to be completely well rounded when you're there in university, from friends to lovers, is just not likely. But see it for what it is, utilize it for what it is, and you'll come out on top. That's what I want to say. Big shout outs, guys. Are you guys here? Hello. Are you guys here? Can you guys hear me? Hello. This message is for young black women only. And I would say if you have a graduating senior, or you have a junior or whatnot in your life, a young lady, you know, first of all, take the initiative to advise her. You know, tell her lessons that you wish you knew at that age, to kind of prevent some of them from going down pitfalls that a lot of us have gone down. Because by the time you hit your late 30s or 40s, some ladies are singing the blues and like, "Oh, I wish I would have done this and I wish I would have known now." Meanwhile, me and a lot of my friends were looking at these women, these young women in university and saying, "Oh my gosh, they're wild, they're partying, they're doing this, they're always with the guys, they're always with the football team." But hey, they had a game plan. A lot of women go to school to fraternize with who may eventually become their husband. They're not really there for the educational thing. And I mean, I'm not going to promote that, but I'm just saying, I think too much of this negative advice of young Black women, focusing solely on their education and don't worry about the boys, girls totally rejecting dating and things like that. It's not the greatest advice because we can see from society as women age, we get so much criticism and so much analyzing and all this kind of stuff, that when we're younger we can make the most of that time too. It's possible for you to maintain friendships and relationships and do your studies. No one is a monolith and has to be single dimensional. Balance is key, but just telling our girls to negate that, telling our girls to reject a certain type of guys that have been classed as nerdy, or guys that are kind of indoor guys, or maybe guys that are shy. You know, it's not a secret. In 10 or 20 years after college, they become, some of the sought after guys. So it's about understanding that life is a journey, trying to have a little bit of forethought about the days to come and being realistic with the world that we're in. Something else I would obviously want to pass along to young Black women is, obviously, if you admire your Auntie Gina and you see how I have begun to explore the international community, I'm definitely going to promote any of you in the Western world to begin to travel. Perhaps you can even use your university days to do a study abroad, experience the world, because the world is so much bigger than, um, you know, America. And you may actually find that another place is more suitable for you. Do not be naive to pay attention to the things that are going around you. The increased gun violence, the extreme racism, the chemically modified foods that will lead you to obesity and poor health. It's not like that everywhere. And so do not delay. Make the most of your youth. One thing, I don't spend a lot of time potentially in regret or even reminiscing about the past, but one thing that I do really wish that I had done sooner was move abroad. Definitely. And I think a lot of opportunities are out there for young Black Americans around the world. And we can see via social media, so many of them are thriving and doing well. And I definitely want to pass these things along to the youth of tomorrow. So, big shout out to the African Superstar family. Guys, just take a minute out and hit the like on the button. Hello, if you're enjoying, I see you guys here viewing. I know you're here. Just make sure you hit the likes for your African Superstar. Again, I want to give a special shout out to my niece Talia. I'm so proud of her. She looked absolutely stunning. And obviously her mother, who's a part of our family, Miss Amina, sharing that information. She always keeps me updated on Talia. I had an opportunity to meet Talia. She came to visit me in Ghana a couple years ago, and she's such a lovely young lady. And she's growing up. And in true big auntie form, I just want to pass along some words of wisdom to help women flourish. There is sometimes jealousy and competition that exists among women, and a bitterness that older women express because of things that happened to them, or missed opportunity, things they missed when they were younger, or things they didn't know about. But I definitely take the each one teach one approach. Just because maybe I'm not able to do something at a particular point, doesn't mean that someone coming behind me should suffer. And I think more of us, if we just took a little bit of time to mentor our youth, we know the world that they're in. We know the world they're in. We know the dangers that they face, and we should be protecting them. We should be protecting them, and I'm doing my part. I'm leading by example. So obviously, like I said, if you know any young Black women, college graduate, even if they're already in college, or they're seniors, juniors, they're heading off to school, take them under your wing. Pass this message to them. or have a conversation with them about, these are the things I really wish I knew when I was your age. Or, I mean, and then we should also consider as adults that the world is also changing for them. Things that they are being confronted with in their generation are a bit different than things that we were being confronted with in ours. We didn't really have, I remember I was already at University of Cincinnati for at least a year before Facebook came out. And prior to Facebook, they had like MySpace, they had Black People Meet and Black Planet. And, the social media was not a driving force that it is today. It was more like recreation. At that point, I mean, most of us didn't even have smartphones, back in the early 2000s. And I think with the onset of social media, that has created a lot of significant challenges and some benefits for our young people. And so, we have to be mindful of that because that is a big, huge element of their world. For some of them, it's been a factor of their world since they were born, since they were little children. So, we need to take that into consideration and advise our children accordingly. I mean, we see adults misbehaving here on the social media. So we can only imagine what teenagers are doing with it, and things like that. So, just taking these things into consideration is what I want to do. Big shout outs to you guys. Thank you so much. Jennifer Edie, hi, sweetheart. It's good to see you, Mr. E. Big shout outs. Mr. E remembers Black Planet days. Yeah, you know what I mean? That was social. I remember shout outs to my former high school, Fort Hayes High School in Columbus, Ohio. I remember on our, we had a break period in the middle of the day, and we used to kick it because, my school is a performing arts school. So, according to the other Columbus public schools during those days, our school was the nerdy school. Our school was, the artists and the a bit eclectic group. So we used to chill in the library. Okay, we used to go chill in the library during our break periods, and we would work on our Black Planet pages and our MySpace pages. And I remember, learning a little bit of HTML so you could put some decorations on your page, and then you could put a little music there, and people would put pictures of their favorite, artists. Like some people had Tupac and Biggie and this stuff. And I mean it was just purely recreational at that point. Um it didn't function anything like 2025 for these young people. So I just want to, give that to them. I hope that maybe it's beneficial to them. I do know teenagers, some of them, it's hard for them to listen to us. They think we're outdated and they think we don't know. But I think if you do have the kind of rapport, I have such a fantastic rapport with young people. The way I relate and interact with young people is definitely a gift because any child I meet, any young person I meet, they're always excited and eager to deal with me. I've been told by several of my friends, that I'm their favorite. Their kids talk about me. Their kids watch me on YouTube. I'm a big deal to them, and it's fascinating. And I went to some schools to do. I tended to go to schools and do presentations whenever I visit the U.S. And it's remarkable because the kids are always so engaged when I go and I talk to them about Africa and I talk to them about my life. And I mean, they're literally so engaged. And I'm like, is it that we are just neglecting our young people? Is it that we don't take the time to have conversations with them? Because my experience going to the schools is that the kids are like little sponges. you know, they're just like, wow. When someone decides to pour into them. So we definitely need to do a better job of that. But like I said, I lead by example. I'm putting this video out there for you guys to share with the young Black women in your lives. And I want to just encourage you guys to take them under your wing, try to empower them and not in a judgmental way. We were all, teenagers once. We were all 18, 19, 20. We thought, I mean, I remember when I was 19, boy, y'all couldn't tell me. I thought, oh yeah, I've been actually doing this whole grown thing for a whole year. Like I'm 19. I specifically remember being 19 and just thinking I had life on auto, like on speed dial. I just thought I had it going on. So, we take that into consideration. Some of them, they're going to think they know what they're doing. Others of them, they're really listening to us. They're listening to us behind the scenes. They're watching us. They're picking up some of our traits, and so we definitely need to take a leadership and a responsible role with our youth. And if you're like me and you don't have your own biological children, it doesn't mean that you can't still have an influence and impact on our youth. Because after all, this is the world that we're living in. And we should have an investment in the mental well being of our youth because it goes into our life. If these kids are wild and crazy and dysfunctional and depressed and violent and crazy, that makes our life living environment more intense. But if they're better, if they're more functional, that makes our living arrangements better. So each one teach one. Thank you guys for your time to my live stream today. Big shout outs to the African Superstar family. Big shout outs to my members only. Guys, I'm preparing a video for members only this evening. Yes. So for my members only members, definitely look out for the next vlog. I'm going to take you behind the scenes again of my set life on House of Clue. For those of you guys trying to catch House of Clue either on DSTV or Showmax in Ghana, or if you guys have VPNs, you can also tap into DSTV or Showmax and see the House of Clue. I was notified earlier this week that I have already started appearing on episodes. I shot about 6 episodes. So I will be popping up on your screens. Yes. So definitely, if you're interested to see me on the House of Clue, then make sure you look me up and catch me. We have goals in the acting world. That's what we're getting ready to tackle. In other news, we have the upcoming tour, group tour with Mr. Taye Huru. That's October 19th through the 22nd. So I think for the foreseeable future, that may be our last tour, because I'm getting ready to really pursue my acting in Ghana. That's what everyone is telling me. So I'm going to go ahead and take it as a sign from the ancestors to chase it up and see what we can do, which means I may not be available for tours in the near future. If you're interested in that tour, you can go to www.tayeahuru.com, and the booking and full itinerary is available for that group tour. Otherwise, I do offer consultations, mentorship, and bespoke tours. You can get in contact with me directly at africansuperstar@gmail.com if you want to set up a bespoke tour. Yes. Also, in other news, guess what, guys? Guess what, guys? I'm coming to London. Yes, I have a confirmed show on the 27th of June. Yes, we will be in London. So, to my UK fan base, which is ever growing, the last time I was in London for a show was November, and we had such a great turnout and such a great reception. Yes. If you miss me then, don't miss me now. I'm coming on the 27th of June to London. So do not miss your African superstar. Be back in town again. Yes. So until we meet again, stay black and true. If you ain't black, just stay true.